Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Higurashi console arts. We're on Yoigoshi, if that is its name. We started off in the future, 2006. I think the farthest we've been in the future in the Higurashi story in general. Besides maybe Sumi Horoboshi. Remember at the end it was like Old Man Akasaka? I don't know what date that was. But either way, we're pretty far in the future. We got adult Miyuki. We got a new guy named, I believe his name was Akagawa or something along the ilk of that. And we're checking out Hina Mizawa together. The quarantine has been lifted recently-ish. We don't know the exact date. And I believe we're talking about what happened in 1983. So yeah, let's just get started. June 1983. Boop. Toxic gas emerged from the swamp near Hinamizawa village, surely, and claimed the lives of over 2,000 villagers overnight. Even the surrounding area was engulfed by the great Hinamizawa disaster. At the time, people debated if the disaster was natural or man-made in origin, and the incident had such an impact that the neighboring municipalities that it even shook major cities like Tokyo. Oh, I wonder why. The self-defense force's slow response to the disaster further increased the death toll. We simply didn't have the technology to grasp the geological information at the time. And shortly after, the incumbent administration suffered intense backlash from the opposition parties, the mass media, and more, which resulted in tremendous political upheaval. Then the government issued an indefinite blockade of Hinamizawa village, which turned it into a ghost town. All the entry was strictly prohibited until very recently. The location was even redacted from the maps. Arakawa. I was close. Oh. Bad luck or good luck?
だからデスクが6月のひなみ沢に行くなんて正気の沙汰じゃないっていうのも当然というか時期的にたたりとか
Sorry, Arakawa?
頂上の何かが出てもちっともおかしくない今もそう自分が死んだことに気づいていない人間がフラフラっと
本当に出てきたらさすがに嫌ですね
Sorry, what? Okay, yeah, that's what I thought I read. Based. Saramachi, we still don't know why Miyuki's called that, responded in a somewhat silly, somewhat serious voice. Judging by her light laughter, it didn't seem like she was afraid. Oh, that was a small flashback.
そうですねどちらかというとあんまり信じてないかもです
じゃあさお化け屋敷とかも行かない方
Dude, I love haunted houses.
いいえお化け屋
Yeah.
敷は割と好き
You don't need to be a believer in spirits. It's just fun to run through them.
一緒に行く子にギュッとしがみつかれたりするのって悪くないっていうか
しがみつく方じゃないんだ
Okay.
そうなんです小学生の時も遠足で遊園地に行ってみんなでお化け屋敷に行ったんですがなんか逆に面白くて
Honestly, haunted houses for all ages is premium entertainment. Unless you're like old, then maybe it's not a good idea.
女子も男子も全員
And there's different levels, right?
泣いてないのは私だけでした
Wah, wah.
あそうなんだ
For how proudly she spoke, it didn't feel like she was faking it. Apparently, Saramachi-san is stronger than I first thought. It was such a sweet delusion, picturing her trembling and clinging to me, but it was useless to expect anything of the sort. Dude, my guy is like down bad, man. No, I mean, he's not that down bad. He's been at it for a while, though. I support it, though, I guess. Why not? I need to look at this guy. I don't know if we'll actually see him, though. Might be a Teichi thing. Well, we'll never switch perspectives, and we'll just have to imagine what this guy looks like. Well, any guy looking to become such a lion-hearted girl's boyfriend is in for a rough time. I wonder, does Saramachis-san have a boyfriend? You know what? You might as well ask, because last episode you asked if she was dating the chief.
どうしたんですか？
Just shoot your shot, die. This weird tension is bugging me.
いや別に
Just get it over with.
それじゃあ最近はどうなの？
どうって？ああ。
Ah? Saramachis-san stared blankly with her eyes open open wide for a while, but once she realized what I was talking about, she gave me a sideways glance. Her large eyes were surrounded by thick, moist eyelashes, and looking at her alluring profile, my heart suddenly began to race. I wonder if it was too soon to steer the conversation in such a personal direction.
いやその
Nah, shoot your shot.
ソニアさんにしがみついてくれる人
Yo, he's actually doing that. I respect this guy.
そういうことですか。
I kind of thought maybe, because they keep calling her Soramachi. Like, why would? Unless it's just like a nickname. Saramachi-san held a hand to her chin like she was pondering something. But the way her eyes mischievously darted around made it obvious she was just striking a pose. Somehow, the conversation took an awkward turn.
いやごめんちょっと質問が下世話だったかな別に変なつもりで聞いたんじゃなくて
あれ？変なつもりはなかったんですか？なんかがっかり。
Good meme?
荒川さんにならしがみつかれてもいいかなーなんて考えてたんですけどね。
Oh, shit. Even though she's teasing.
それってもしかして
I started getting excited again and took a big gulp. There are so many ways to interpret something like that. I mean, is there? It feels pretty straightforward. But is it alright for me to get my hopes up? Is it? Kana?
ちょっと待て
I mean, even if that were true, it would be far too blunt to just say, I'll hold you tight. You just met her today, dude. I need to comport myself like a dignified man, at least for a little while. Comport? Is that a word? I mean, I bet it is, but I'm unfamiliar with comports.
Comport.
Conduct oneself, yeah. I was thinking of conduct, but why would you use comport rather than conduct? Or is comport... Is it formal or is conduct formal? I don't know. Whatever.
言っとくけどお化けって怖いんだぞ
True?
そう余裕ぶっこいていても実際に出てきたらどうだろうな
What would you do if a wild honey just appeared out of nowhere?
えー
And you had no cream puffs in your pocket? That would be a terrifying situation.
例えばどんな風に？
Also, where's Hanyu? We haven't seen her yet. Where's Tatsuno? I don't think we're gonna see Tatsuno. I think she's dead already. Surely we'll see Tatsuno somewhere in the consorts, right?
な
Saramachi-san responded in a light tone, passing the whole thing off as a joke. That may have been a childish thing to do, but even if a man is kicked down, his dignity demands he gets up again. Besides, I'm not one to let a topic about ghosts and spirits go lightly. I just have to throw myself in head first.
怖いのはお化けというよりは幽霊だな
In a way. To be honest, I think... What do you think's more... Like, ghouls are just... What I'm interpreting as ghouls are like physical monsters, where spirits are not physical monsters. I feel like it's more likely that not physical monsters exist than ghosts, but maybe not. I don't know, dude.
お化けは物のけの類で見かけ
Oh,
獣と同じような存在だけど
never mind, never mind.
人間の強い情念の塊みたいなものだからさ
This is like yokai. It's not physical versus not physical. This is yokai versus yurai, right? Fucking flies. These fruit flies are killing me, dude. I swear. Did I swallow it? I don't know. Anyways, a Yurei, I believe, is just a ghost, like a ghost of a human spirit. While a yokai isn't like a ghost, it's not made of a human spirit. It's just evil, or it's not necessarily evil. It's its own thing, right? It's a spirit, but it's its own thing. While Yurei is actually made from human resentment or whatever. I learned that from the yokai book, which you may or may not know if you watched my Natsume watch through. I bought it because of that. It's pretty interesting, honestly. I mean, the differences. Yeah. Juon, if you know Kayoko from Juon, she is a Yurei, I would guess. Same with, I guess Sadako from The Ring would also be. Or Ringu would be a Yurei too, right? Just anything that was born from human. But yeah, Kayako.
そういう話はよく聞きますけど、でもどんなに人を恨んだって死んだら何もかも終わりでしょ？
いや、一般にはそう言うけどさ。
Say that to Kayako.
人って死んだら終わりってわけじゃないと思うんだよね。
I like Arakawa. He's interesting. I like his supernatural believer stuff. The serious tone in my response caught Saramachis-san off guard, and the smile quickly disappeared from her face. So, I cleared my throat and continued with my story. Hit me with it. We're in the sea of fragments. I guess since we're talking about like life after life. Afterlife, I guess. It's kind of a fitting segment to be in the sea. I thought that's...
まあ、思い残すことが何もなく言った人は念なんて残してないと思うけど、そんな奴はめったにいない。そしてそこに含まれる感情は怒り、悲しみ、恨み、憎しみ。人間の負の感情である場合がほとんどだ。
なるほど。未練のある、そして負の感情を持つ人だけが霊となってこの世に残るってことですか？
そうだ。少なくとも俺はそう思ってる。肉体は死んでも念は残る。そんでもって時々人の姿を借りて心残りの念を成就させるために姿を現したりするんだよ。恨んで死んだ奴はその恨みを晴らすためにね。この村はガス災害で大勢の人がある日突然に命を奪われた。死んだ人間の無念がそれこそあちこちに漂っててもおかしくない。てか絶対死んでも死にきれない霊たちがたくさんいると思う。そういう奴の恨みや怒りの矛先は理不尽な死に対するやり場のない怒りを触媒にして生きている人間すべてに無差別に向けられることも考えられる。
Cool. Good lesson on how ghosts work. If ghosts exist.
ごめん。
I don't know if ghosts, spirits, monsters exist, but my take has always been if they do exist, the world would be a funner place. So yeah, I just like to think they exist, even if I'm not sure they do.
変な話になっちまった。
When I noticed that Saramachis-san had done, excuse me, silent, I stopped talking and scratched my head. Oh, this is bad. I've said way too much.
俺、こういう話になるとつい熱く語ったりして、アホだな俺って。本当ごめん。だからいつも彼女に逃げられるんだよ。てか、いや、そういうことでもないんだけど。
Girlfriends, huh?
いえ、覚悟はしてたから大丈夫です。
Huh?
しょうがないですよね。そういうのってきっと職業病だと思うし。
Huh? Yeah, that's my reaction. I don't understand. Once I heard those unexpected impressions, I immediately turned and had to ask about it. There have been plenty of topics she's been surprised by and smiled wryly about. But this is the first time she actually acknowledged that, isn't it?
何ですか職業病ってのは
だってオカルトライターって人を怖がらせるのが仕事なんですよね。
Is that what he is? Okay, I thought he was a normal journalist, but if he's an adult writer, that makes a lot more sense. Cool. I don't really follow adult writers. Are they like a thing? I mean, I bet they are, but like a popular thing? I doodled it. I don't know if I would actually spend time reading on them though. But, oh yeah. It's famous writers inspired by the occult. Yeets. Okay, let's do that. The soundtrack kind of slapping.
反町さんもしかしてそれ本気で言ってる
そういうことはある程度覚悟してましたから全然気にしないで大丈夫ですよ。
Did a little prep work. Saramachis-san flashed me a confident and open-hearted smile. Hey, I'm not like that. This is a total misunderstanding. I'm not some creepy adult writer, okay? Okay, apparently he's not an adult writer. Unrealistic ghost stories are the work of novelists and storytellers. I'm a journalist trying to report on real events. It's completely different. Okay, so is he reporting on, like, spooky real stories, I guess? It makes it impossible to enjoy the alluring smile pointed my way. In fact, it's rather painful.
誤解だって曰くありげな場所とその根拠を調べて記事にする
Yeah.
のが仕事であってですねホラー作家じゃあるまいし怖がらせるのが目的で書いてるわけじゃありません
It honestly sounds pretty interesting. I'd probably read an article or two. Actually, I do watch videos about, like, real, possible, paranormal stuff sometimes.
いいですよ、そんな一生懸命弁解しなくても。
But the song slaps.
私変な誤解なんてしてませんから。
頼むから誤解してるって顔でそういうこと言わないでくれ
いいえ、本当に誤解してませんよ。
No matter how I looked, I couldn't see it that way. The disagreeable atmosphere left me feeling dejected. However, Saramachis-san glanced back at me and spoke up.
でも、そんな風に熱く語っちゃう荒川さん、なんか憧れますね。
Thank you.
ええ、素敵だと思います。
It's admirable? Wonderful? That was the first time in half a lifetime that someone told me that. It's kind of sad. I turned to face Saramachis-san as I muttered that to myself. Then suddenly she turned back toward me and her eyes met. Kiss, kiss, kiss! Her huge eyes completely drew me in. I was completely fascinated. I was... What?
あ、しまった。
反町さん前
What? What is this scene, man? This whole arc so far has just been some really fun banter in a car ride. I mean, I love it, but
前見て
interesting.
山道なんだからさ
ごめんなさい。
It's also raining heavily. Saramachis-san smiled cheerfully as she turned her eyes forward. I was a little relieved that her dazzling gaze was no longer upon me. I wasn't sure how to handle it.
あとですね、ちょっと提案なんですが、
Okay. Nani?
私のことみゆきって呼んでくれませんか？
Yes, please do. I don't even know what Saramachi is.
普段からあんまりみんなには反町
Is that like a
って呼ばれ
nickname,
て
a
ない
middle name?
違和感があって。
そうなの
でもその代わり、私も荒川さん
No?
のこと龍之介さん
Actually, that's not a hard name to remember. I feel like a lot of anime characters are named Ryunosuke. It's just it looks harder on when it's written than it really is to pronounce.
別にいいけど
それじゃあ遠慮なく龍之介さん。
はい
First name basis? Looking good? Oh, where did this development come from? Have things progressed that much? Even though I was feeling confused by this development, Saramachis-san seemed to be laughing gleefully. Is this some kind of misunderstanding? Is this alright? Is it?
龍之介さん、
That's me?
はい。
今度は龍之介さんの番です。
Oh man, this is so cute.
遠慮しないで。
Actually.
どうぞ。
Dozo?
じゃあお言葉に甘えてみゆきちゃん。
Chan. It didn't feel right to refer to her without an honorific. I mean, she's saying Ryunosuke-san too. It's fine. How stupid can I be? But even so, Saramachi-san, I mean Miyuki-chan, just gleefully laughed and turned forward to concentrate on the road. My heart was still racing.
みゆきちゃんって彼氏とかいるんじゃないの？
Let's go!
どうしてですか？
Answer.
なんとなく男がいそうな雰囲気っていうか。
Uh-oh. It was a blatant lie. I felt miserable for saying it, but I don't have a lot of experience talking about relationships. In other words, I just wanted to hear if she had a lover directly from her lips. That's good. We should know if we should pursue or not right away.
そうですか？彼
Nice.
氏はいませんよ。
Based?
本当に？
ねえ、彼氏はいません。
Hold on. Miyuki-chan grinned and laughed, then said nothing more. If what she said is true, could that be an invitation? I stole a quick glance at Miyuki-chan's face. Her expression looked completely composed. She's just difficult to approach because of her beauty. But I wonder if she'd keep silent like this if I asked her out? Just do it, man. We're on a roll. This is an unforeseen development, but I wonder how she feels about this. Would she be interested in having a boyfriend? But if that's the case, where should I invite her to? I couldn't think of the right words to broach the subject, but the conversation had grown stagnant for a while, and I was growing impatient, and just then...
龍之介さんはどれくらいになるんですか？
Oh. Since we had a girlfriend?
フリーライターになってから
Oh,
です。
no. I was baited too.
そうだな。
The unexpected question took me by surprise, so I took a moment to think back. It's probably been close to 10 years since I first started working with the editor?
フリーになってからは7、8年ってとこかな。駆け出しの頃は食えなくてやばかったんだよな。その前は雑誌の編集やってた。
ずっとオカルト系ですか？
まあね。
Man, that was a lie. I've been interested in the cult for a long time, but it actually wasn't part of my career. In the beginning, I was just interested in writing in general, so I started out writing about various topics, regardless of genre. It was a life on the verge of starvation. Yeah, you gotta stick to one thing, especially when you're starting out, I think. Then one day, a strange elderly couple suddenly contacted me. I'll never forget it. It was the summer, 3 years ago, when I was struggling to find work. Okay. Little flashback, origin stories, Arakawa Ryunosuke origins. I was contacted by people claiming to be my grandparents. I was born and raised... Oh, are you sure this isn't a scam? Though it's kind of reverse. I know there's like scams right out of younger people calling older people and saying they're their grandparents and asking for money. I don't think it would work in reverse. I think he's good. I was born and raised in a family without a father. I never knew the identity of my father or any of my parental relatives for that matter. Paternal. Sorry. Apparently my father died in an accident 8 years ago, and my grandparents only learned of my existence after looking through some of the belongings he left behind. It's a little rough. They contacted me and offered to show me my father's belongings, including 2 tapes and dozens of diaries. Based on the contents of the diaries, I learned my father was a reporter for a weekly photo magazine. As fate would have it, he and I were working in that same career. Okay, I thought it was about to say that same magazine. I would have lost it. According to his diary, after the Great Hinamizawa disaster, my father started visiting hospitals across the prefecture on a daily basis to listen to the stories of survivors and the other people involved. Some massive and enigmatic power must be lurking in that village. A magical power capable of dragging the living to the land of the dead. That was what my father wrote in his diary at the time. True, and her name is Tatana. The tapes I received were from interviews he conducted with people related to the Great Hinamizawa disaster. Their content was so eerie and bizarre that it pained me to listen to them again. And the last survivor went on to predict their own death? Rita? Interestingly, that survivor also predicted my father would drown to death. Oh! Oh my god! I know this timeline. This is the Totoro Doroshi timeline. Post Totoro Doroshi. I was thinking Rita, but no, this is when Keiichi escapes. He goes crazy and then he randomly kills a reporter for the lulz. Says that he would drown to death on a boat, which he did. And then he got a heart attack and died. That's hilarious. Okay, so this is post Totoro Doroshi. At least we have like an idea. Or like this, an art that follows the Totoro Doroshi path where Keiichi ends up surviving. Something along the lines. Okay, cool. Nice little indicator, huh? And my father did, in fact, die in an accident at sea. Base Keiichi? Killing a reporter for the lulz? I don't know what happened to the survivors my father interviewed. I don't even know if they're safe. But the prophecy of that one particular survivor was right on the mark. For a long time, I wasn't interested in writing about anything. It felt like I had hit the limit of my career as a freelance writer, but the discovery of the diary felt like an act of fate. And I also love how Keiichi just, like, literally just guessed. Because he wasn't predicting shit. I mean, he kind of was. But he was just on a lucky roll, man. But him guessing how he would drown at sea is, like, hilarious. I sought to prove that by writing a lot of occult articles, which I'm still doing even today. Oh.
ずーっとオカルトばっかり書いてるってことは、龍之介さんはオカルトの専門家なんですね。
I just read that wrong.
専門家なんて大層なもんじゃないな。人よりちょっとばかしそっち方面の好奇心が強いってだけで。
でも好奇心だけであれだけの記事を書けるんだから、やっぱり専門家ですよ。
True. Even though I kept trying to conceal my true intentions, Miyuki-chan continued to praise me. On the contrary, all her praise only left me feeling more abashed.
そういえば、ひなみ沢村にはどんなオカルト話があるんですか？オカルトです。
Occult Desu?
ひなみ沢村っていろいろあるんですよね。
ああ、オカルトね。
Cream puffs going missing at night.
どうしたんですか？
Cute and strange oddities being stolen. Traps everywhere. The spookiest of stories. Miyuki-chan had a dubious look on her face. For a moment, the dash disaster survivor who predicted my father's death came to mind. For now, I didn't want to tell her about the girl who predicted my father's death. Ah? That has to be a typo, because he literally just said a boy before. Oh, I guess he never said boy, but this is literally what Keiichi did. What girl predicted his father's death? Rita? No, I mean Rita. It wouldn't be Rita. Rita's fucking dead. It would have to be Keiichi, or if a girl survived, like Mion. Or Rena, I guess. Satoto's probably dead. Satoto sadly usually dies too. Has a less chance of living because she lives with Rika. So she's usually collateral, right? I'm certainly interested in occult phenomena, but I'd rather not discuss it with someone interested in and familiar with Hinamizawa.
いや、別に。
せっかくだから何か聞かせてください。
でも、そういうの、みゆきちゃんはあんまり好きじゃないでしょ。
そんなことないですよ。むしろ面白そうです。
そう？じゃあ、ま、ちょっとだけ。何を話そうかな。
I couldn't discern her true intentions, but decided it would be best to continue for the time being. Well, Hinamizawa has plenty of occult stories unrelated to my father. I didn't choose from any of those. Something that would satisfy her curiosity, something not too heavy. Maybe a mild tale from their oral traditions.
ああ、そうだ。
Watanadashi, maybe?
ひなみざわ村の守り神って知ってる？
Hanyu?
守り神。
ひなみざわには昔から伝わる古い神様がいてさ、この地が属性に汚されることがないよう守り続けてきたんだよね。お社様って言うんだけど。
お社
The false name? Miyuki-chan's face lit up. Their conversation kept moving farther and farther from romance. Should have shot your shot harder. I'd actually prefer to discuss more personal matters, but I suppose this is alright.
古い伝承によると、村の守り神のお社様を怒らせるようなことは、この村では決してやっちゃダメだったんだ。村の守り神なんだから当たり前だけどさ。
Although Miyuki-chan focused on the road, she continued listening intently and occasionally turned back. When I noticed that, I switched gears and did my best to sound like a serious journalist in my explanation, rather than some idle gossip reporter.
それで、お社様が怒った時には、怒りを鎮めるために、
That's fake
村人は
news.
馬に生贄を捧げていたんだと。そして、
Alright,
生贄に
I guess it wasn't fake news. They probably did that back in the day for reals.
底なし沼にじわじわと時間をかけて沈めていた。
And Hanyu was forced to watch. That sucks.
その底なし沼なんだよ。例の大災害で毒ガスの発生源になったのは。
Miyuki-chan muttered that with a peculiar look in her eyes as she continued to focus on driving. No, it actually looked like she was lost in thought. The mountain road was growing narrower and narrower, and the surrounding area even more lonesome.
あ、やっぱりこんな話するんじゃなかったよな。
聞きたいって言ったのは私だから。私たちが向かっているのはそういうところなんですね。死者に絡みつかれて死なないよう気をつけなきゃですよね。
Good advice. Her tone was devoid of the humor from earlier. I was careful to choose a topic grounded in reality, but unfortunately it only exasperated the tension. Though it was a problem of my own making, the atmosphere was getting rather heavy.
話は変わるけどさ。さっきもちょっと聞いたかもしんないけど、最近どんな曲聴いてる？
最近はあんまり。
前はどんなの聴いてた？
そうですね。
You're getting walled off, buddy. Though I tried to liven the atmosphere, the conversation didn't go anywhere. With no other options available, I opened my bag and to take a look at the map I brought with me.
いよいよね。
いよいよって？
え？
あ、今いよいよって言ってたけど。
It's time to avenge my father.
ああ。
Or finish his legacy, because he didn't die into Higurashi for sure.
いよいよひなみ沢なんだと思ったら緊張してきちゃって。すみません。独り言です。
Lies. He knows. Miyuki-chan's thoughts were elsewhere. Then she said, "That's enough talking," and fell silent, and so I made no effort to say anything more. Screech. Shortly thereafter, my field of view suddenly cleared up. It seemed we were on top of a small hill at the moment.
着いたみたいです。龍之介さん、ちょっと降りてみませんか。
ああ。
Miyuki-chan stopped her car on the side of the road just after asking that, then quickly popped open an umbrella while climbing out of the car. Though the weather was still poor, it was certainly worthwhile to step out of a stuffy car to get some fresh air. I jumped out of the car in a hurry, but in the process I knocked over a can of coffee in the cup holder. Good one, bro. The dean dude. Plop! And to make matters worse, the coffee landed on Miyuki-chan's document case. Classic Ryanosuke. Then I twisted my body to reach into the back seat and grab a tissue, but I bumped my leg into Miyuki-chan's document case and it fell on the floor. Oh, and now we get to snoop. Perfect opportunity. Ooh-wah, double fail. I quickly wiped the spilled coffee with a tissue. And when I tried lifting the camera case to get easier access to the document case, I was surprised about how light it felt. Ara? It wasn't locked, though I felt bad for doing so. I gently opened the lid and peered inside. It was a very respectable case, but I found a completely ordinary camera inside. Can a camera with such a low resolution really be used to take nature photos for a magazine? Is she a fake journalist? I kind of thought about it in the first episode, but then I just kind of believed her. No, I didn't see a telephoto lens or anything of the accessories necessary for landscape photography. Thinking that suspicious, I ran my eyes toward the documents scattered on the floor. Several blank copy sheets were scattered on the floor of the passenger seat. Below those, I found a few magazines and news articles and a couple of weird-looking scrapbooks. The mythical Tateno scrapbooks. And among the newspaper clippings, I found articles related to Hinamizawa and an article about a murder in a Tokyo hospital. Who? It's not her mother, she just fell. They didn't really call that a murder. I don't know. Mion? I guess it would be Mion if... Because, you know, Mion dies at the end of the alternative ending for the first one, which is really just the next, just a sequel thing. Kinda. Miyuki-chan's words echoed in my ears.
景色のいい場所とか人とかの紹介がメインです。アウトドアマガジンの他にも磯釣り名人でも書いてます。
Surf fishing.
アウトドアの方は読ませる記事が多いんですけど、磯釣りは海の写真を見せてポイントとかの紹介かな。
She's a liar, a filthy liar. Shouldn't her luggage contain material related to this expedition? I've been scammed? I do not want her. I want my cute reporter waifu. There is not one document of the sort amongst these belongings. All the documents Miyuki-chan had were completely unrelated to her job as an outdoor photographer. What on earth does this mean? Outside the window, I could see Miyuki-chan standing out on a hill where she could get a better view. Suddenly, Miyuki-chan turned back to me with a dubious look on her face. She might get suspicious if I take too long. I flashed a friendly smile toward Miyuki-chan, then quickly tossed the articles back inside the document case and stepped out of the car. What the? That moment, a peculiar sound jumped into my ears. No, it can't be. It must have been the rain striking the leaves. It couldn't have been the sound of another person. What was it? What was the sound? The car headlights struck the ground by my feet, revealing a sheer cliff face just a few meters away. The location overlooked a small opening below the hill. It was dark at the moment, so I couldn't tell for sure, but this vantage point will probably provide a nice view tomorrow.
ここに昔
Yo, we got the
村
Miyuki
があっ
sprite.
て人が大勢暮らしていたんですね。
The drip is okay. It looked better in the CG, but I respect it. This is a path that Akasaka was running. Well, they use this path a lot, but they first used it with Akasaka, running after the kidnappers.
ここがあのひなみ沢村か。
We're actually gonna end it here. We finally finished the car ride, and now we're venturing into Hinamizawa. It's kind of a nice stopping point. We've played a while, and we didn't get a stopping point yet, so maybe I'll just stop. I'll just play thinking there won't be stopping points for now. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Next time we'll venture into the abandoned post-quarantine Hinamizawa. Will our dude Ryunosuke still aim for Miyuki? Or is he too spooked about her lying about being a journalist? You'll have to find that out next episode, or maybe future in the series, because like who knows when that will be revealed. But yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.